The views and opinions expressed on This Can't Be Adulting are solely those of the host and do not represent or reflect the views of any individual, organization, employer, or entity we may be affiliated with. The content of this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Listener discretion is advised. Yo, welcome to This Can't Be Adulting, the podcast where two guys who probably should have it all figured out absolutely don't.
Careers, money, relationships. No one handed us a manual, so we're figuring it out the only way we know how, with real talk, deep dives, and a whole lot of laughs.
I'm Herb.
And I'm Derek. And if you're out here wondering, am I doing this right? Trust us, you're not alone.
So hit play, relax, and let's figure this out together. Yo, welcome back to another episode of This Can't Be Adulting. Derek, here we are again.
Oh, well, there's Choco again.
Here she is again.
Pop it up again. She hears people talking, and she's like, what up? You say something about me?
She's like,
Ma'am?
I want to see. Oh, good, nice kisses.
Yeah,
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Ma'am, get
Okay.
down. Live and indirect. We are not. Sit down. Hey, ma'am, sit. Oh, I know. I appreciate you, Mom.
I think it's funny that she made her appearance. I think she's aware of the topic today.
It's true. This is a good point.
When you kind of start to think about it, how things have evolved as you gotten older, she may be your
Yeah, that is
best.
true. That is true. Because today we're doing a natural succession based off of what we talked about last episode, which was family.
Yep.
And then part of the topics we spoke about was chosen family.
Agreed.
And chosen family is really just friends.
Friends. How
Friends.
many of us have them?
Boom. Friends. Dun, 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 dun.
100.
We're going to try to figure out how to get it in here. If we get it in here, we don't, but there's some copyright laws or rules on YouTube and Spotify. So I don't know, but it's a good song to throw in there.
You know, and sing it along right now at home if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll drive to it.
I will say this as a friend of Herb's. We were commenting on Herb's ensemble and what he's wearing now.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the how as we get older, we find a particular piece of clothing that we like that fits well, and we just get the same thing in different colors over the same shoes in different colors.
And over again. I'm telling you, I know, like, I have the same pair. I was just telling Derek the pair of pants I have on. I have all colors. I'm about to get all 5 colors, and it's just
They're nice pants.
I like it.
I'm not gonna lie.
I like what I like. My underwear, bro. I wear one type of underwear.
Oh, you do? Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it. I mean, I have and I just
All in different colors.
No.
And there might be some of the same colors. I'm
no.
sure.
It's only one color. Black.
Oh,
They're
really?
The same, they're the same underwear. I just have 15, 20 pair of them, but they're the same.
And make sure you separate the dirty ones from the clean ones.
Yeah. How would they get together?
Bro, I don't know, bro.
I don't know either.
What you mean? Well, good, because there's a lot of dirty ass motherfuckers out there. That's all I'm saying, man.
You got your dirty clothes, you got your clean clothes. What?
Nah, but I just be hearing, man. This is so funny. This sparks a whole nother conversation. But I in the past several years, I've heard conversations with various women in my life, and I don't mean women that
yes,
I'm dating or
yes.
something like that, but even friends,
Yeah.
and just talking about some of the men they've dated, even some of the men, not that just they dated, but that they've married, and like the nastiness that some of these dudes be doing. I'm like, and I'm sitting there sometimes overthinking myself and judging myself for who I am, and I'm like, nah, I'm a fucking hell of a catch, yo, because I don't. 90% of the shit that I be hearing these men doing out here, it'd be wild, bro. Just some dirty ass shit, dog.
Bro, I guess for you and I think it's something that we take for granted because, yeah, absolutely. Like, here's some people that don't friends talk about experiences they've had and be like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What? Like,
What?
Or even talking to some of my friends, I think there's something that we may hit on is I don't know. I could speak of a friend I had passed. We were just talking about cleaning their sheets, and they were like, they don't change them, but like once a month. I was like, once a month, change
Weekly,
your
bro.
sheets?
I change my sheets every Saturday.
Come on,
every Saturday. And I'm not, and it's just me in the bed. It's just I sweat at night.
Oh
like,
my gosh, yes.
Choco sleeps in the bed with me too. So every Saturday, my sheets are going into the wash.
Man, so yeah,
Hands down.
yeah,
It's crazy.
These boys over here, yeah, we
clean.
We clean.
Yeah, but not even the topic of discussion. But we're talking about friends, and we think friends very important topic to touch on because, when we're really trying to break down, and we've talked about friends in segments,
Yes.
and certain parts of some of the past episodes, but like really dedicating a whole episode on friends on on how do we always like to tie back. We always like to start off with when we were kids, right? Obviously, but I think it's going to be really important to talk about how to navigate friendships now that we're in our 30s and 40s, because shit be getting weird.
Absolutely.
Friendships, managing even acquaintanceships, it's just very interesting because, again, I think it comes down to this idea that, like, when I was younger, I always thought that, when I get older, some of these problems that I'm having they're not going to be there because we're going to be mature and people are going to handle things differently. And it's like, ends up being kind of the same old shit sometimes.
Yeah, we don't grow like that.
We don't grow like that.
We just age. We don't grow.
I'd like to think I grew a little bit, but okay.
A little bit.
Maybe not. But yeah, obviously let's go back to the 90s, to the 80s, when we was little kids. Yep. I think one of the first things that I want to understand, Herb, and I think I already know this answer because I know who your best friend is.
That's fair.
And now, granted, it's so funny because last week we were talking about family. You were talking about how family was it. But he actually does have a friend that isn't family.
Which is funny because when we were thinking about this episode, I was thinking, I was like, man, I've talked so much about family, but in this friend thing, like the closest person that I talk to outside of like my mom, I would say outside of my mom is my best friend, and he's not family, and we've known each other since we met in kindergarten. So since I was 5.
So there you go. Talk more about that. You met in kindergarten. Yep. What did it spark up? Were you guys in the same coloring group? Like, talk to me, bro.
Basically, so we was in the same coloring group, but we was in the same color group.
Touche. I see what he did there.
But as you heard me talk before, I won't go into it, but like, small town, small school. So everybody, that was black was related, but one of the few kids that wasn't related to me, he was a mixed kid. His name was John. I give his name out there. His name was John. Whatever. We met in kindergarten.
Like John is a very unique name. So
very bad. If I said his name is the most white, it's the whitest ass name ever. But yeah. So so John and I, we became friends in kindergarten, mostly just because, like, again, we both favor sports. So like we would just play on the playground and stuff. We always play sports and stuff like that. And then again, he was one of the few colored people. Wow, that sounds so racist to say. But he was one of the few minorities at the school, so it just like natural gravitation.
One of the few people of color.
There we go.
Because that was one of the questions I had. Like, what bonded you? Was it proximity? And it's you see someone that kind of looks like you, and you automatically. That's just human nature.
Right? And so that's how that kind of took off, and then it really evolved over the years as we got or throughout grade school and through high school was through sports. Like, so we both played sports. Eventually it became like he was the quarterback, I was the receiver. Like, we played both on the basketball team together. So it was like we always played sports together. So that really, really what I would say bonded us as we grew up all the way through grade school, middle school, high school. So 5 years old, met my best friend. To this day, still my best friend. Again, we'll talk on the phone for hours. Like, my girlfriend,
multiple times a week.
Yeah. If sometimes I don't answer the phone because I don't have an hour to spend. Like, I know it's going to be at least 1 hour every time that.
What do y'all even talk? Because I've been around when he's on the phone, and they sometimes just sitting there in silence.
Nothing.
Or maybe one person saying something. I don't know, but like.
Oh yeah, he'll talk a lot too now. It don't take much. Like, John, he'll do some talking, but we talk about nothing, bro. Like, we'll talk about everything: sports, politics, people, relationships. Just everything.
So you have your own podcast sessions when you're saying, I'm feeling a little jealous right now. I'm feeling a little jealous right now.
No, when people get around John and I, they like, oh hell no, don't get these two together. Like, they don't like to hang around, because when we get to go, a lot of times we debating and arguing with each other just for the hell of arguing and debating.
I love that.
And that's people's like, no, we can't deal with this. So,
really? Because what people think that it's serious or something?
No. They just get tired of it. Like we can go all night. We can sit on my mom's porch. Like, we'll sit there and be on the porch from 9 p.m. to 2-3 a.m. just talking about all kind of random shit.
I think that seems healthy to me. That seems cool as shit. But I guess when people are trying to be around y'all and do some shit and it's like just you two just out here just talking and going into it. Yeah, it was so funny because I pulled up to his place last week to edit the last podcast, and he was on his phone, and I'm talking to his girlfriend. I'm like, where's her? She's like, oh, he's on his phone with his girlfriend. They just didn't talk about nothing, dog.
Nothing,
and
bro.
Hey, but that's a sign of a real good friendship, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely day one friend. Yeah, it's crazy. That I will say definitely that's John. I would say definitely like I say, my best friend.
And obviously the cohesive or the adhesive was the bond that when y'all first met in kindergarten.
Yep.
you were like, all right, this is a person that kind of looks like me
Yep.
in a sea of white people,
Mm-hmm.
and so that was a bondness.
Yes.
And so you started hanging out as little kids
Yep.
like that. Obviously, you guys probably weren't talking about politics back then.
No, not at all.
But even as kids, you can see that, you can sense that. Even kids can gravitate towards that.
Yeah. Because he was from, again, we're from a small town, but it's like a very, like, I won't say not, he grew up in a very so funny. He was raised by his grandparents who were white. He grew up in a much, I would say, financially restricted household than I did, which is kind of funny because of the difference to see. Like, he grew up with these white grandparents, and I grew up with my parents, and it was just, he grew up like you would think of in Arkansas backwoods type. He grew up in that type of situation. Needless to say, nowadays the boy is doing quite well.
You're doing well.
He grew up like that, but that was just so funny as us growing up, but like coming from the same area, I would say, looking the same, and then just kind of building that bond through, like, I would say sports is really 3rd, 4th grade where we really kind of start to like take off and start hanging out and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what it was. And not that this episode is about this, but the race thing is super important in a lot of topics that we're talking about. It was important when we were talking about religion. It was important when we were talking about family, particularly for you down in Arkansas in the South, because there was a lot more separation.
Yes.
And so I think it's important to note that even as a kindergartner, even as a 5-year-old, you recognize that. Y'all both recognize that.
Yeah,
and we're like, hey, this person looks like me, so I'm going to hang out.
Absolutely.
That's so interesting to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Super interesting to me. I mean, kids are very impressionable, and to say that kids don't recognize the realities of what's going on in the world, maybe not on a political level, but just the realities of like, oh, I look different, and I feel like, did you feel like you were being treated differently?
No. I don't feel that way, but I think it was a difference of just knowing like there were black kids and there were white kids. And anybody that wasn't, full, like, I mean, he's half white, half black, he's 50-50, so he's just, and raised, with the white parents. However, he really gravitated towards the black kids. Yeah. And that's kind of how he was treated, like, as a black kid, even though he was, half biracial.
I hear you. Okay. So, friends right there. Did you have any other friends? Like, what else did friendship mean? I'm sure you did, right? But because we're talking about best friends right now. Yeah. But he was your best friend because y'all knew each other for so long, it sounds like. Y'all bonded on not just the fact that y'all kind of look alike, not look alike like that, but y'all saw each other from a race perspective. Sports was a big thing. Yeah. But what back then for you defined what a real or a good friend was? Because I want to talk about that dichotomy between what it was then versus what it is now, because I would think it would have changed.
Yeah, I mean, I think back then it's going to sound surface level, but it was more so like, this is the person I like hanging out with. We kind of like the same things. We kind of, we were just kind of had the same interests. We had the same kind of mindset. We kind of had the same, thought process as far as like, as much as we wanted to have fun, we still took care of like school and stuff like that. So it was like, we weren't some of the, like, there's other people that maybe looked like us that didn't take the grades part as serious as we did, even though we was having just as much fun as everybody else. So that kind of bonded us as we gotten older, but also always from the start was that both of us were like held to like our household, like, hey, you got to get the grade stuff right. So that part was something that always also kind of bonded us together as well. So I think it was just several things.
I find that interesting because I think it was a lot different for me. I mean, not say a lot different, but it was a little bit different for me because, the things you mentioned is how I view friendships now. Like, do we like the same things? Are we on the same value levels? I think I maybe viewed it differently when I was younger. You know what I mean? I don't think I was necessarily about that. For me, it was about, do I have fun with you? Like, that's it. Do we have fun together? Like, that's really what it came down to.
But that's what the fun part is. Like, hey, the way of having fun is that we kind of like the same thing. We're trying to do the same thing.
But like, I wasn't so concerned about whether they were getting good grades or not. Like, I understand that was instilled by parents and stuff like that. And not to say that I hung out with kids that didn't, and not that it would be bad, but I think it was just a lot different back then. I don't necessarily recall having a best friend from the time I was in kindergarten like that at least that grew with me. Yeah, I did have good friends. I remember in preschool, I went to a Latin-speaking preschool, or a Spanish-speaking preschool, Spanish and English, but all the kids there, our teachers were all Latinas and stuff like that. So there were definitely kids that I met there, a lot of Colombian cats that like I did grow up with and continue growing up with. Some of them, like, I went to preschool with them, went to kindergarten with them. Like, I remember my boy Andres, my buddy Andres, went to preschool, kindergarten with him. Just a lot of people that it's like, oh, nowadays, like, I still see him, and it's like, shit, dog, like, I've known you for so long.
Did y'all go outside of kindergarten, preschool? Did y'all go through like grade school, or was it just
No, and then ended up changing. And then in grade school, I met a different, group of kids, different group of friends. Like first through third grade, I went to a school, Robinson. Shout out to Robinson. And there was a different set of kids there. And then fourth through sixth grade, ended up at Calca and met a different friend group there, different groups of people there.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because my city tiny. Tiny. When I say tiny, I mean tiny in the space.
Yes.
I guarantee you Mayflower is probably bigger geographically than mine.
Very
but
big.
It was a lot less populated.
Yes.
You said you had a population of 3,200?
1,300.
1,300. That's wild. How much square mileage is it?
Man, it's massive, bro.
Yeah.
It's lakes and I would guarantee it's pretty big, bro. Like from the side.
And
like
only 1,300 people.
Yeah. Like it's so spaced out.
Bro,
Yeah.
Central Falls, where I grew up, 1 square mile.
Oh, hell no, bro. It's
1 square mile.
Bro, it may be like
20,000 people.
Bigger than
20 population of 20,000, 25,000 now.
we got to put that comparison up because I want to see.
Yeah, that shit is crazy. 1
so
square
you can
mile.
walk the whole.
That's why I told you when I was a kid, it was like my parents didn't care if I was on the other side of the city because it wasn't that far.
Yo,
Literally, you can walk 1 square mile. It's one of the most densely populated square miles like in the country or something like that. Like it's insane.
Is it a lot of single family homes or what's the?
No, it's a lot of multi-family homes. Not that many
Really?
single family homes. All meant to because it's a very at the time at least it was much more lower socioeconomic. It has had a bit of a turnaround.
Okay.
Big shout outs to my boy. Speaking of friends, my boy James, who I grew up with playing soccer, who became mayor for 11 years and turned that city around. Big shout out to James. Big shout out to James, yo.
Okay.
He's now the treasurer of Rhode Island, so he's doing big things.
Yeah,
big political man.
All right.
Keep sending me them funny videos on
It's
WhatsApp.
so funny because I was going to have one of my questions for you, not to jump forward, was do you have any celebrity friends or famous friends?
Yeah. He's probably the more famous one, and like, but still the same dude. Like, still the same dude. Like the shit he'd be sending me on WhatsApp, I'd be like, bro, you are the Rhode Island treasure, dog. Yo, dude cracks me up, bro. He sent me one like last week, bro. I'm like, James, funny as shit. But big shout out because he turned that city around a lot. Yeah. But back in the day, it was definitely lower socioeconomic. And a lot of multifamily homes again. So not a big city, meaning there weren't that many schools. So it's funny that I jumped to many schools and I made new friends groups, even though it wasn't a large space that we were in.
Right.
And then we all kind of reconvened again, everyone in 7th grade because 7th and 8th grade were at the high school.
Yes.
And we only had one high school.
Same.
So I reconvened, and then, like, for example, my buddy Andres that I went from preschool to kindergarten with didn't go. We linked back up, and he became my best friend.
Through
7th, 8th, 9th grade.
Yep.
And then I moved cities, and I went to the city next door, Pawtucket, and I ended up making
Wait, you went to another high school?
I went to another high school.
Okay, because one of the things about you asked, did I have any other friends than John? I went to the same school K through 12.
Because it's such a small town. Yeah.
So everybody there were several people in John and I's grade that we started with that was K through 12. So there are people that I knew and that were like friends, throughout my whole childhood.
Yeah.
Basically, just because we all went to school together. Right
Yeah.
there. So we had that we had that kind of that situation. I'm gonna say that was part of the friend groups that I had growing up as well. But I was just that was just so different than kind of how you said like y'all linked back up and then you kind of went there. But then I couldn't imagine going to another school because I never had that experience of having to like go to another school and make all these friends. Well,
it was also a little bit different too because the one thing I do want to talk about and you can relate to is sports. Sports is a big molding and coming together of it. So there was also friends that I met through soccer when I started playing on the travel team. And again, because Rhode Island is so small area wise, if you were good at soccer, which I was, and in Rhode Island small, like you would play with other town people from kids from the town. So there were a lot of people when I moved to my new high school that I knew already through soccer.
Got you.
And a lot of them were already Colombian, and the Colombian community knows each other pretty well in Rhode Island.
What was the demographics of your high school then?
So at Central Falls, demographic was, I would probably be willing to say 80% Latino.
Damn.
Probably like 15% black, and probably the rest is like white and Asian.
Alrighty, so you didn't get your introduction to white kids until you went to college.
Well, until I went to soccer.
Right, I remember saying
soccer and my next high school. My next high school.
Oh, okay.
The town over, Pawtucket, was
Yeah.
probably 50% Black Latino. Let's call it 55% Black Latino, 45% white.
Yeah.
I would say, because now it was a bit of a bigger town. I went to Tolman High School, and people correct me if I'm wrong. There was 2 high schools in Pawtucket. There was Tolman and Shea, which I just found out when I went home in June that they're combining the high schools, and there's only going to be one high school in Pawtucket now. Shea and Tolman, they're building a new high school, the whole 9 yards. The high school that I went to before, Central Falls, that small town, they're building a new high school. Like, just a lot of shit's changing, but like now the 2 rival high schools are coming together, which is interesting because the sports teams are already playing as one this year, even though they're not in the same building yet.
Yeah.
Super interesting. But that side of Pawtucket, I didn't even live in. I lived in the other side of Pawtucket, but I used my aunt's address because I wanted to play soccer. With
I'm about to ask, so
this
this a whole sports thing?
Yeah.
Like you went to the overtown, they had a better sports team. And
and it's funny because the way we did it was based off of Division 1, Division 2, Division 3.
Yeah.
But the team I went to play with was in Division 3. Right. And it was based off of more population, even though some of the bigger schools have better teams. And Shea was in Division 2, so I could have been in Division 2.
Yeah.
I kind of should have. They had a good team too, but I went to Division because I just knew more people, and there was a bigger Colombian population there. Yeah. Come to find out, Shea, one of my best friends now, Matt. He's one of my boys now, and I met in high school, and he went to the opposite. He lived right up the street from me. He went to Shea, and he was one of the best players at the Shea soccer team. But anyways, story for a different day. But like talking about the demographic at Tolman, there's a part of that side of Pawtucket that's predominantly white. There's a lot of more white people. It's like the Darlington area. That's where a lot of the single-family homes are, and it's right on the border of, like, Massachusetts.
Okay.
And so right around the Attleboro, which is nicer housing and blah, blah, and that's where a lot of the white people lived. And then the other side is where a lot of the Latinos and blacks lived, and they all combined and went to Tolman. This is why this was, like, this split at Tolman.
Now, growing up, did you go over, like, the friends that you did have, or did y'all visit each other's homes and stuff?
Yes. Oh, yeah, all the time. Because I know that for you, that might have been a little bit different because you were talking about family and having people over. But, like, not like, especially when I lived in Central Falls growing up as a kid.
Yes.
I was in Central Falls from the ages of 6, and I moved to Pawtucket when I was 14. So it was my freshman year of high school I moved. And, we was always out on the streets. And like I said, because CF is so small, we was always like, hey, Mom, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go. Andres, he lived, like, technically, like, 3 streets over.
Yeah.
And it was probably like a 10-minute walk.
Right.
And so you just walk over there up his street, and he lived on Sylvian, but Sylvian was known to be a bad street. But he lived in the beginning of it. So my parents were always like, yo, just be careful over there. And it's like, that, like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, there was always like, this is a bad street type of a thing. It was just really funny, but we was always at people's house. I remember one of my other really good friends that I grew up with was another cat named Andres. 2 Andreses.
All right.
But I knew him through soccer.
Yeah.
He lived right up the street from me in CF, but he went to school in Pawtucket.
Okay.
He was using his cousin's aunt's address, and that's why I went to Tolman to play soccer with him.
Yeah.
He was one of my boys, him and his older brother, and we used to play soccer in the streets. I told you the mayor of Central Falls, James, his grandfather lived across the street from me, so James was always over there. We'd play soccer in his backyard, and there was like cement for parking in a little yard where you can dive as a goalkeeper. We'd kick the ball over the fence. It was in the back of a freaking playground or a park. We used to climb the fence to go get the ball. We used to get into fights with each other. Be you kicked the ball over. You touched it as a goalkeeper. You tipped it over. You got to go get it. Yeah. It was.
All right.
But it was like such fond memories, like with those friendships, because again, for me back then, friendships was about like, yo, who's ready to go have fun? Because we was always out in these streets.
Now that part was
You always out in these streets, just running around, like making up dumb games, man.
But everybody was out. There wasn't even like, even if somebody didn't have friends, they still were just out there. Like there were people that just be, like I could just even think like hanging out with our family and stuff, and like some of us like we'll be playing sports, but it'll be our other cousins are just like chilling, like on the side, just chilling. Like everybody had to be out there though. Like you was just out there.
It's such a difference.
Yeah,
it's such a difference from it is right now. Granted, I don't have any kids, and I do see kids here in my neighborhood, here in my house here in Austin running around, but like with these computer screens and everything, it's so different. Like
it's different,
I feel like maybe kids are bonding in friendships over like video games or like, are we in the same Instagram, TikTok group, right?
But if you even think about it as a parent, like it's like, okay, I can have my kids out in these streets. Bro, we was out there, no cell phones.
None.
Just all you had to be, don't let that light beat your ass home. That was it. So we was out there in those streets, no cell phone, just roaming around. As a parent, I think, for whatever, from a safety perspective, you're like, oh, well, at least I know the kid's up there in the room. Now, is that actually safer than him actually being out? Maybe not. What's going on online? Maybe not. But I think there's just, like, the kids these days just have it different age.
Well, again, and this goes back to some of the conversation that I was having with you for this, what what I want to discuss in our next episode, and it's about what we're told we should be scared of. And it's so funny because yesterday I was hanging out with our girlfriend who watches. Shout out Christy, I love you. We love you. We know you watch all the time. But I was having this conversation with her about this and about like I used to be out on the other side. Would you, on the other side of the town with my kids? Would you? And would you let your kids there? She's like, hell no, I wouldn't. I was like, well, in all fairness, my town was only 1 square mile. I just mean like in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But there's like trepidation and fear. There is a little bit of trepidation and fear because I do think about it. And I'm like, yo, am I going to really let like, if I think of it right now, if I have a kid, am I really going to just let my kid close my door and do what I got to do here and like not even think about them? Like, I'm going to constantly be thinking about them.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, where are they? Did they get hit by a car? Like someone like, is that even reasonable? Is that like, I don't even know if it is, but we've been told to fear everyone out there and in the world now.
I think it's part of that, but also it's because I think, it also is a situation where in this case is that we also have the ability to make the environment, quote unquote, safer for ourselves. We have the cameras, we have the phones, we have all this technology that enables us to be able to track, for lack of a better word, our your kids per se, where back then they didn't have it. So it was kind of like they was forced to. I mean, the technology's kind of created this opportunity for us. So maybe it's just a sense of like, hey, just the world is safer now than it was back then. Yeah. Which is crazy. And then that part is kind of like tying in kind of maybe, our conversation we had before this is that the world is safer now than it was back then. So it seems, you would think that there would be more kids out in the streets than it is now. But what we see a lot of is the vice versa.
Vice versa, not even where we were trying to go.
Yeah, but as we digress.
But it's a good part of the conversation because it does come down to like the friendships that we had was all around, yes, common interests. We like having fun together, absolutely. Yes. But I think it was more so around, can you meet me here and let's go play?
Now, I don't understand that was like your friendships in grade school. Now, once you guys met back up in 7th, 8th, and then once you moved over into, high school and stuff, did that change? Like, it
did change a little bit. Because now it was more about, all right, now we're not just boys. Now it's like, what's up with the girls?
Oh, bro.
That changes a lot.
Bro.
Dynamic. And then I started having more female friends because I wasn't necessarily having female friends as a young kid. What I mean?
Yeah.
So it starts changing. And the reality is, yes, most of them were just female friends. They were just friends, but it was because now I'm interested in your girl.
Yes.
And so we're friends and you're dating my boy. And so now friendships start turning into female friendships. So I started gaining some of my first female friendships when I got into like 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Right? Yep. Now, whether that turned into like best friendships or something like that, not necessarily, but at the time I did have really good female friends. I considered at least at the time.
Yeah.
And I do think that dynamic was different, but we were still maybe playing soccer a little bit. Now it changed from soccer into like playing manhunt.
Yeah.
Manhunt was fun.
What the fuck is manhunt? Tell me about this game.
You know what manhunt is?
Hell no.
Oh, you know what it is. Maybe we label it differently in the North. But manhunt is just hide and go seek.
Oh, okay, yeah.
For grown ass bigger kids.
Oh, kiss and tell. Or
kiss
kiss chase or like same thing. You go out and you just like, I'm assuming that if you catch the person, it's a girl.
No, we're literally just playing manhunt. Like literally, manhunt is like you set up parameters and you go, we're gonna play within this 6 blocks, and you can hide 2 teams. You can hide anywhere within the 6 blocks. We'll give you 5 minutes, and when those 5 minutes are done, our whole team's gonna go try to find y'all. And it's literally hide and go seek. And if you find them, you got to catch them. But if you can't, and then it's just sprint. So now it's dudes thinking like, oh, I'm at athletic. I can outrun you all day. That's what I always thought.
And you have to touch the person?
You have to actually catch 1, 2, 3 manhunt, 1, 2, 3 manhunt, 1, 2, 3 manhunt. And then you catch them like that. And that's how you catch them. And for me, because I was an athlete, I was fast as shit. So I never hid. I always thought I thought it was cool, so I would just sit there in plain sight, and they'd come look at me, and I'd be like, "Come catch me, come catch me."
Yo,
that's like little kids.
It's the kiddie. That's
12,
like kids
13-year-old.
So. I can just see your head. Yeah.
Exactly. You couldn't see yourself doing that though.
Absolutely. That's why I know exactly what's going on here. Like, bro, that is hilarious. All right, so y'all playing manhunt.
Manhunt, bro.
All right.
Like, the game, changed from that, and then the girls were involved. So then you would like, I'm saying, so shit changed a little bit like that.
Yep.
And then you started going to parties. Right, and then it started being like, oh, we're gonna hang out with this chick. Her parents on here. We're gonna go play spin the bottle, truth or dare, whatever the case. Now, mind you, I was completely scared shitless, so I never went to any of that shit.
We all were, bro.
Man, that's scared shitless. But like, that's how some of the dynamics changed. And then the interest changed from like that to like more music related friends.
Okay.
What are you listening to? What's this about? Type of thing. But I'm curious to know what it looked like for you.
I think again because it was like the friends as I started to get into, let's say, middle school, high school, like you say, same thing. Girls started kind of coming around. One of my best friends from, I would say, from probably 10th grade, through high school, was a female and strictly platonic. But yeah, she was probably one of my best friends when I was
The one who passed away?
Yep. Yes. Yes. She passed away a year after we graduated. So yeah, let's shout out R.I.P. Michelle. There we go. But that was, I would say, like that's when I started having friends that were girls, and it was the same type of thing. Like, hey, Michelle hooked me up with this girl, this girl, this girl. She was wing woman me for through high school, which is high school that's major. So but all my other friendships, I would say, definitely came through sports, just because that's what was taking up a majority of my time from basically from a young age.
But your sports was with your teams. They're not just from Mayflower. These are people from other towns too, right?
A
Kids
lot
that you're
of
playing
it
with?
was mostly from just in my town, like Mayflower, where I was from. A few times, like I was playing like AU basketball, but like football at the time was there wasn't like these elite camps and things like that. It was very just with your school, and it wasn't it wasn't any other option. So like that was basically all just the same sport. So it was all from Mayflower. So it was the same thing, like playing on the same teams, but unlike where I would play every single sport that we had, there were certain kids that only would play certain sports. So that during each season, my friends may change depending on what the sport was, because then we're hanging out more. We may have to ride to the games with each other, or go home for practice, stuff like that. So that was, say, what changed a lot of my friendships.
And you were a multi-sport guy.
Yeah.
Because you played baseball, football, and basketball?
Yeah. Baseball, football, basketball, and track. I hate the way I say football. But anyways, baseball, football, basketball, track. Yeah, those four sports. So throughout the years, like I was always playing sports, and that's kind of what dictated my friends I would say, like guy friends growing up.
Was there anything deeper behind the friendships as you got older? Because I feel like for me, it was very superficial as a kid, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like I was a kid, like we were kids. It was again, can we just have fun? And I enjoyed having fun. We laughed, and it was, whether you consider that deep or not, but like I consider my friendships today much more deeper, and like I definitely need more fulfillment from certain friends, and I don't mean like we'll talk about as where we are now, but like back then, do you feel like you were ever looking for something deeper, more meaningful, or is it like, I don't know if that question, if you know what I'm trying to ask.
No, I don't think there was like any like either shared experience that bonded us together. I won't say per se.
I think it's even more so like it's like, hey, out of my friends now in high school, like I need someone that I can talk to about some of my problems or something like that. Like, was it ever anything like that?
Not. I don't feel like, I can't think of, or can't recall. I can't say it was or wasn't. Yeah, I can't say it was or wasn't on that aspect. If there was something like that that just like made it on a deeper level outside of just the time that I was spending with the same people. Like my two best friends, one of my cousin and then John, we spoke about, like us three, we hung out from 7th grade all the way until we graduated, and we were both all in the same grade, so it made it easy for us. And they played multiple sports as well, so it was we were always together, and we was all into the same thing. And then my cousin and I, we lived together, so it also had that aspect. So it was just kind of like, I feel like it was just a time shared thing, like it was just time together.
Yeah, no, I hear you. How did you view? We talked about. I want to touch on this. We're obviously talking about your female best friend and how she came into the picture, and I was talking about when the female friendships started coming in and how it was. But like, how did you view those friendships compared to your male friendships? How did those differ? Because obviously growing up as kids, like I was always, what I saw is particularly through culture, through like TV shows, whatever, is like my friends are going to be like, my best friends are always going to be guys. And I don't know when that turned that you can have a best friend. You can, let's say, again, you can as a kid, as a child, you can have a best friend as the opposite sex. Like, how did that change for you? How did you view that? Like, what was that about?
Yeah, it's so funny because like, how her and I became friends was because I was trying to date one of her friends, and my cousin was trying to date her. So we were talking a lot, trying to hook the other person up, per se. And then we just became friends, and then we started having classes together. And then we would just sit there and write notes. Like, we were basically texting on paper.
Kids. You
Yeah.
heard that, kids?
Before then, yeah, this is like
We used to write notes to each other and pass them around.
and just pass it back.
And then if you
she would
got
sit in
caught by
front
the
of me, I
teacher
would
would make you
back.
read it out loud.
Oh yeah,
when
yeah,
you
yeah.
said
That
the
was
note.
all kind of read your text message out loud. Dick pic.
This is a penis.
But no, but so yeah, we would. But we started having classes together. So then we would just write notes back and forth, and that's how her and I became friends. And then we started like once I got my own telephone, my own phone line. We would talk.
That's
on the
how
phone
you know
and just,
he in his 40. He called it a telephone.
I know, right?
No phone, no cell, telephone.
Phone line.
The
too. It's a
telly.
landline
The
too. I
telly.
still no number. But so we would talk all the time on the phone. So then that was kind of how that it never even thought of like crossing that line per se. That said, as I got older, I would say and went to college and started having friends, I would say I didn't have a lot of friends that were like that when I started having girlfriends, I would say.
Well, because you started having girlfriends. And so now, then there's a whole dynamic about, like,
Yes.
is your girlfriend cool with you having actual female friends? I get that.
And I was not making it any reason for the girl to be cool with me having female. I was not helping my situation.
You were
Let's put it that way.
helping your situation.
I was not helping my situation. So yeah.
That's so interesting. Yeah, when I went to the new high school, I was forced to make new friends, obviously, even though I knew cats from my team. But even the cats that I was cool on my team with from the soccer team, they didn't end up being like my best friends, to be honest with you.
Really?
Right? Nah, they didn't end up being my best friend. Besides one cat, Kyle ended up being a really good friend. And Kyle's sister, Kim, ended up being one of my best friends in high school.
Okay.
She ended up being like the homie, the homie.
Were y'all in the same grade?
Same grade, same
Yes.
age, same
Gotcha.
thing. Still talked. I don't know if she's still watching the podcast, but she loved it in the beginning. Was
Shout
so
out.
Kim, if you're watching, shout outs.
Hey.
And she ended up becoming one of my really, really good friends. And then one of my best friends, and become my best friend, was Manny,
Yep.
who ended up like I remember. I started sophomore year. First period we had biology class, and it was first period. I remember it. He's talking to all the girls. I'm sitting there quietly, and like one of the girls is like, "Hey, what you doing today, Manny? You want to hang out later?" And he's like, "Around what time?" And then she's like, "Oh, around 5:00." And he's like, and I saw his face, and I saw him go, "Nah, I can't." And so immediately I said, it was like a Tuesday, Wednesday. I came around. I was like, what am I doing? What would I be doing today at 5:00 p.m.? And I'm like, oh, Dragon Ball Z's on at 5:00 today. So I go over to him. I don't know him, and I'm like, oh, what's up, man? He was like, hey. I was like, Dragon Ball Z at 5? He was like, yeah. I was like,
that's
my
the
boy.
wildest shit. That is hilarious.
And that's how we became boys.
I've never seen an episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Never
either.
saw an episode?
No.
Oh, we were so into it at the time.
That is hilarious. Damn.
Yeah, and I just kind of like called him because he's like, nah, I got something to do.
Yo.
And then we
Again,
was boys since then. We
Yeah.
was boys since, like, really good friends. He didn't play on the soccer team, he played on the tennis team. But he was also in all the AP courses.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the AP courses.
Yeah.
But he graduated like top 10, like smartest dude. And we went to college together. So we were best friends, roommates in college.
Yes.
We ended up getting into sales together at EMC,
Yeah.
like the whole 9 yards. Like, I've been through the gamut with this guy. And so, yeah, that was my boy. And then some of my other best friends that I ended up meeting to this day, like my boy Jamie, who is one of my best friends now, I met him through like so many different people that knew him that I was friends with, and then like
Friends
he
of
ended up
friends.
drifting
Yeah.
apart from them, and then we ended up just staying. So I've known him also since around the same time, 15, 16.
Oh, hell yeah.
It was just interesting.
Yeah.
And then we had like this core group of friends. We called each other the Horsemen. I know, a little corny, but we still actually call ourselves that sometimes. But unfortunately, some friendships have gone their separate ways
Yeah.
as we've grown older. And that's always that's a conversation that we can talk about now, I think, which is a big
I was
part.
going to
It's
ask
like,
that.
what does managing friendships look like today?
Yeah.
Right, as you get older. But before we jump into that, I guess, what did it look like for you now that you went to high school, you went to college? Because again, all I've ever heard of really good friends of yours is still John.
Yeah. So it's so funny. So John was my best friend. When I went to college, again, this was the first time I was like put into a situation where I didn't know people.
Right.
Coming from a place where I went to school, the same school, K through 12, even, like I said, I knew everybody. That not even just in my grade, even in the school, because everybody was doing the same thing. So you would go through like that whole experience. Like I knew the whole town. So then going from there to going to like a PWI, a Big Ten university was a
What
change.
does PWI stand for?
Predominantly white institution.
Ah,
Oh yeah, there we go.
that's the thing. I
Look
went
at
to
the PC.
PWI too.
Oh, we did.
Little crazy
Yeah.
PWI.
As opposed to HBCU.
Yeah. I didn't know that. Is that like an official term? Mm-hmm. Huh. I know HBCU. Never heard PWI.
Yeah, there you go.
Wait, do they call themselves PWIs?
I think we.
Oh no, I was gonna say we.
I think they. I think it's
are
a PC.
HBCUs.
Yeah, but I think it is a P. It's a PC term to use PWI.
Huh. Learn something new every day.
There we
Thank
go.
you for putting that
we'll
on.
put that on here too. But no, so going from there. But the thing again was, I was playing sports. I was on the football team. Naturally, only people I hung out with were. I won't say naturally. That I was naturally put in a situation where I could make friends, and then because of that, throughout college, like I only hung out with. Every dude that I hung out with was either on the football team or maybe I hung out with like maybe a couple of basketball guys, sports guys adjacent. But like for the most part, like all friends through college were all on the football team. I didn't have any quote unquote civilian friends. Now the girls, obviously, different story. So then like I had,
were the friendships deep or were they more superficial on the football team?
They were deep. Like my homeboy, like Eric, that I ended up. We ended up being roommates through the whole time, and then he was from South Carolina, funniest dude ever, without even trying to be funny, just wild ass funny dude. Super deep. Like he and I was, friends. We don't speak as much as far as like nowadays, but it ain't like a reason why. We don't have to speak that much. But like all the friends, like I had other roommates as well that still on the football team was friends with. So like it was all out of like that. I would say the football thing, but it was all built on like the football. But I feel like they were deep.
Yeah, I hear you, and I think what I'm hearing too, a lot of like the friendships from both of our perspectives just derive from proximity,
yes,
in a sense, right?
Yes.
And what are we both involved with,
or
what are we involved with at the time? Because very much is the same with me. Like a lot of it was like you go to high school, you're physically somewhere, so you see the same cats all the time, so you make friends.
And there was no social media, so it wasn't like you could even have that type of friendship with somebody in the other town, like bro, like.
And you go to college, and then you're on the football team, so naturally you're around these cats all the time, so you become friends. Because same with me. It was like you go to college. I thought the big difference and the big difference too in college was while in high school. There were a lot more white people per se. It was still 45% minorities.
Yeah.
College was a big culture shock because I think I told you, I think BU is like 3% minority. And I think part of that minority, they put in there like in foreign students, maybe or international students and shit like that. And so I've said this before when we talked about race in America, but like when me and Manny showed up, all the minorities could pick each other out like a sore thumb in the dining hall. And you naturally gravitated towards each other, and we just sat down with each other, and we were talking kids, black Jamaican kids, Haitian kids from New York. We're talking about Ethiopians, we're talking about Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, and we all just sat with each other and gravitated with each other because it was like, oh, we have a shared lived experience.
Exactly.
And at the time, I didn't realize it. Like this is just who I feel comfortable with. And so it took a while, and it even took a while for me to like become really close with people on my soccer team because my soccer team was predominantly white.
Yes.
At the time, I was the only Latino on the soccer team, which is crazy because at least even on my travel team back home, while most of the team was white, there was like 4 or 5 Latinos that came in. At BU at the time, I was the only Latino, and then we had one Jamaican cat, Cedric. And so that was even hard because also the way they hung out was different. Their parties were like, oh, we're going to have a kegger. Nobody was dancing. I'm like, yo, you cats don't dance? They were like, what? And I'm like, I don't even drink, y'all. I'm just trying to dance. Like, that's just, yo. And it was just like, so it took me a while to bond with them.
Yes.
And to be cool with because there wasn't that shared interest, even though I was at practice with them every day. Even though I was traveling with them, sleeping in the same hotel room with them. But I didn't room with any of them because I was rooming with Manny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was just, it was a unique and different experience, but I think that was the first experience of me, again, I didn't even acknowledge that time. I'm acknowledging it now, but like going back, like realizing the basis of a lot of friendships is based off of, at the time, no matter how young you were, it was based off of shared experiences and proximity to certain things. You know what I mean?
But I'll also say this. I'll piggyback in saying that like all my friends on the football team, they were all my friends in college were on the football team. They also were all black. Like even on the football team, like you can come into our like dining hall and like the black guys would eat basically at all the same tables, and then kind of the white guys ate at all the other tables, and like it still was segregated even on the football team, even though it wasn't a racial dynamic to it. It wasn't like, oh, we were beefing like everybody.
Yeah.
It was all love, but it was just how we all congregated together, and you just kind of like almost kind of flocked to your kind per se. And I guess even in that situation, it's kind of funny to see how quote unquote race still even plays a role in picking friends, even in a situation like on a sports team. Because you have 100+ people on like a football team, so it's like completely different than like other sports teams. You do get like a gamut of all types.
You got them all. Yeah.
You get it all on the football team. So it's like just so funny how race kind of plays.
But I don't even think that changes that much even when you get older. Like we talked about in the first episode how you and I met.
Yes. Yeah.
Like we looked at each other, we're like, "Oh, what up?" Yeah.
Man,
Yeah. All right. I can
not
talk
like
this
us.
guy.
They
Yeah.
not like us.
Yeah. Like it was just, it's just one of those things where to this day as an adult, that is such an easier icebreaker because you're saying something without saying something.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you give the nod, like there's this shared experience. Look where we are. We're in a sea of white people, and this is not to say anything bad about white people, but like,
Yeah, because we got a lot of.
because all of
I got a lot of friends, white friends. My girlfriend's white.
my doctor's white. But I just think it's interesting because this episode is on friendships, and a lot of it does. It does center around race.
Yeah.
And around shared and lived experience. And I don't even think that's so much what we were taught by like parents or family. I think a lot of that is by what we were taught by society and culture.
Yes. Now I think it's different, and you kind of brought it up earlier, is that what kind of plays a part into, like, I would also say, like, just because all the black people on a football team, we weren't all friends just because we were black. Like, there were specific things that brought us together, whether that was geographics. Hey, a lot of the guys from Texas and the South hung together. All the guys from Florida hung together. Or whether that was like, yo, you talk to this girl, I'm talking to her friend. Like, yo, that's like the dudes that was trying to talk to girls were together. Like, it was like that. There was certain things, and then music and culture, and that's what I'm saying. Like, all those type of things kind of played a part into like, all right, who do I really hang out with? Who are my friends, even in this small portion of the overall, I guess. Like even on a small team, like there's still a small group of guys who were like fraction of that group of that group. So I think that's played a huge part. I would say, like, it's just funny, like there is differentiators that I would say played a part into like who I'm going to be friends with as I got older. Same thing once I got out of school is kind of tied into like the proximities part of it for sure, but like also what are your interests? What music do you listen to? Kind of what those.
That's what ended up being in college, the college time.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's fast forward to late 20s, 30s, and where we are now. 40. Well, you 40. I'm 39. So let's just recognize that.
When you get this age, I'll tell you something.
4 more weeks. 4 more weeks. But do you view friendship as differently? And I guess there's twofold, because it's your existing friendships. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. What are your existing friends? You don't need to call people up, but I know I'm a friend of yours and stuff like that. Well, that friend is saying it heavily.
We know, we acquainted. We know each other.
We cool.
I know. We know people. But,
and obviously you still have John, but like, we were interested in different things back then. Even our friendship has evolved.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that, at first it was, just on shared experience of working at the same place, understanding like, hey, it's not that many of us. But then I think there was a bonding time for when our friendship first started that I could think of, like a group of us kind of, I don't know, it was just like a time together, this moment in time that we all shared this experience where it kind of bonded us together. Then we basically started living we had the proximity as far as like you're a landlord, then I ended up living in the same room that you previously were staying in. So it's kind of like some weird shit. But like, I think that, it was just like a common thing as far as like, we had the cultural aspect, had the proximity aspect of it, the shared experiences, and it was just like we were kind of just all interested in the same thing.
Yeah. So you think it's still kind of the interesting, but what about like values? What about beliefs?
Okay,
does that play into anything?
I will say, at the beginning, it wasn't like it was now. Once the whole 2016 election came, and once.
You think that was a game changer?
It was a game changer.
For you, or just for everyone in general?
I would say everyone in general, but specifically, I could just remember that's when you kind of start to seeing this divide between friendships. When before, like, there was obviously people that was on the left, there were people that were on the right, but it really didn't matter. People, just coexisted and just like whatever. But after that, once that 2016 election came, it was just started to see like, hold up, and it's like this fraction. And ever since then, I feel like now they just like these precursors. Like if you are, on this side, then you have no opportunity of even being friends. And it's funny that like I have acquaintances that I'm sure are on different viewpoints politically, but I don't know if I would say friends per se.
It's tough because I hate saying, oh, it's politics, because I don't want to say that, because for me, if you can come from a place where you can say, why do you always got to bring politics into it? You're coming from a privileged place, because access to food, education, healthcare, gender affirmation, whatever the case is, that's not politics to me. That's basic needs, human needs. And I'm not trying to go on a soapbox with that, but like, unfortunately, what the 2016 election did bring up was like, oh, there's a lot of people that, whether they know it or not, they don't believe it, but like generally don't give a fuck about a whole subset of marginalized certain people. Yeah. And so it was very cognizant in work, because I'm with you, as politically inclined as I was, because I had already worked in DC. I had already seen a lot of shit. Like I was still cool
with people on the other side.
Like, I remember when I was working in DC, I remember I hooked up with a girl, and the joke was, in DC, you may think I was like, I hooked up with a Republican. And it was like funny. It was like, oh, like that was like a thing.
Behind enemy lines.
Behind enemy lines. But like it wasn't like that crazy divided. Yeah. And then that shit just blew everything up. So I hear you, because now I'm very much like, yo, if you are a Trump supporter or a sympathizer, like it's very hard for me to consider you, if you are a straight MAGA, like I do not want to have anything to do with you in reality. There's some shades of gray. If you like voted for Trump, I'm still like, what the fuck? Yeah. Because you are a Trump sympathizer. But like I got one cat that I'm actually cool with, and he's from my soccer fan club. Like he voted for Trump both times. But like we rarely talk about politics, and we've actually talked about it, and it's been very cordial. And like, he's a cool cat. Like he's a nice dude otherwise. But in my back of my mind, I'm still like, but damn, bro, like you still out here kind of defending him a little bit, and and it's just really tough. So yeah, for me now, and going into my 20s, it was about value. It was about values, and it was also about like who was like not like tit for tat, but like who can I rely on?
Okay.
Just like who's shown me that they value my friend. And again, it's not a tit for tat, because it's never something I thought about, but then like I would go back and be like, wow, this person took care of me, this person looked out for me. Like for example, when I was in DC, I was making shit money. I was making $28,000 a year. And DC was expensive, not like it is now, but it was expensive. But I was always going out with my friends, but all my friends made way more money than me. Like I remember my buddy was making $50,000, which at the time
twice
it's a lot of money, bro. And he was my age. We graduated from BU together. He was one of my best friends. He still is one of my best friends. Shout out to Javi. And then my other cat, Mark, who's making a lot more money. Yo, they always took care of me. Like it was never like, oh, I don't got money. It was like, no, don't worry about it. Like, come on. They'd buy shots and blah blah. And like, not because I asked. And they never asked for anything in return.
Right.
I remember one time I got these crazy parking ticket. I parked in a handicap spot on accident. I literally didn't see it. Then I got two tickets, $250 and $500 tickets. At the time,
bruh, it might have been $1 billion.
Bro, crazy. I went to court. I fought it. They dropped it to $250. I still had to pay $500, but I didn't have the money.
Yeah.
And so my friends hooked it up. They were like, yeah, no problem. Never asked for it back. I did end up paying them back, but it was like, I was like, damn, like that. Like to me, it wasn't a money thing, but it was a thing that they were like, yo, don't worry about it. Like you are our boy. We're having a good time, partly because you're here with us. You're part of this good time, and if you're contributing to that, that's what you can give. Like we're cool. And so I remember I told myself when I left that job, I said, yo, whenever I'm making a little bit of money, like I'm gonna take care of my friends.
Yes,
I'm gonna take care of my friends. And honestly, that's a lot of the reason why I don't have much to show for them, because I made a lot of money in my life. Like we both in sales, we made a lot of money. We've talked about this, and I feel like I don't have much to show. Yes, I have a house. I get hard on myself, but it's like I think about it, it's like, yo, because I'm always out. You can ask one of my boys. Shout out to my boy Snyder. He used to say this all the time. He's like, yo, Diggs, as my nickname growing up, still is with some of my friends. And he's like, yo, you be allergic to money, bro. We be out somewhere, you just be like, buying shots. You've seen
you
me.
and I mean,
we've seen. You see the way we was acting.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember it was a time where I was like $16K in debt here in Austin. $16K in debt on my credit card, bro. And I just remember being like, what's another $500 tonight? We be on out west and just on, and I don't know. I on the one hand, I think it was detrimental to me that my friends hooked me up like that because I felt like that was the definition of friendship.
Yes.
And then I had to scale back a lot as the past recent years. So sometimes now I feel like I'm a cheapskate.
I understand that feeling because, like, I would definitely say that
Cheapskate. Right?
Yeah, we come from the same thing. Like, hey man, with my friends, we're gonna have a good time, and that's all I care about, and I'm willing to spend whatever to let my friends have a good time. And I've always been like, if you're a friend of mine, like when it comes to like money stuff, like, yo, if I got it, you got it. Like it's just kind of how I grew up. Oddly enough, not very good financial advice there. I wouldn't necessarily you shouldn't live that way. But that said, that's how I grew up. So that's kind of the same principles I apply. But I have, like, far as like anything like that had, like, I guess that friends that I could call on or friends that had those type of situations growing up, like, I guess there was more of like older cousins that kind of took on that role where I was like, hey, I can reach out to as far as, like money or for this, or that took care of me if we went out once I got out of school and stuff like that. So I think that was kind of like, still I was leaning on family per se. But even when friendships, I've noticed we've gone out and Derek has taken care of me times. Derek's taken me out on we went to the distillery before. We've been to several different things where I feel like as friends we've taken care of. My friends have come through, and I feel like it is something to be said about, like, what matters to me now and how I look at these friendships now, just because there's only several friends. I would definitely say you're probably one of the few new friends. That was one of the questions I was going to have, is like, you're probably the newest friend that I've had, and we've known each other for
12 years.
Dang.
12 years.
Time flies.
My boy was saying 8-6. How dare you not know when our anniversary is, bro?
See, now, and my old lady watched it. This is exactly why I don't know how long. I'm not good with time over here. I ain't good with time. But, like, do you have any, like, new friends that you feel like in the most recently, like any new recent friends?
Our friend, well, it depends on what you consider recent. But I would say our friend group, since I moved to Austin, those are my more recent ones.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Been here the last 12 years. Like your girlfriend,
Yep.
Christy's one of my really good friends. I would say Logan and Donnie are really good friends, and I met them through your girlfriend.
Yeah.
I mean, 8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago. So I would definitely say those are some of my good friends. But yo, I'm gonna put an audible on you right now. We are up on time.
Oh yeah, got it.
And so here's what I'm gonna recommend. We are nowhere done with this discussion. Next episode, we do a part 2. Friendships, and we talk about friendships and what they mean now, because there's a lot to cover. On what they mean now, because we're literally up on the hour.
And we're gonna make this under an hour,
and we want to make this under an hour because we understand not everyone has all the time in the world. So let's do that. We're gonna come back next week with part 2, and we'll dive into friendships now.
Yes.
What they mean to us, maintenance.
Yes.
What is our value system now?
Do you have any that you've burned here in a few?
And unfortunately, there's some things that we do got to talk about from that perspective. So yeah, let's do that. Let's do that audible. I didn't literally. I looked a couple. I felt like a couple minutes ago. We were at 32 minutes. I'm like, already? God damn! Literally sitting here at 7 minutes right now. So we're gonna go into the things we learned, facts we learned.
Our favorite part.
I'm gonna kick it off because I got a real serious one that I want to talk about. Well, serious one is. It's just I got in my bag today researching this. And Herb's got more of a fun one, and mine's not even on science or space today. This is actually on something that I think we should all know, because this was what my original intention was. It's funny when we set this segment up for the podcast was to do shit like this. Like, what have you learned as you've gotten older that you just took for granted, or you were just like, oh, that's just what it is, and this is what it is, and this is what I want to talk. I want to talk about the unemployment rate.
All right.
Right? Because to you, what does the unemployment rate mean?
Like, what's the number, or what's the...
Well, just what does unemployment mean to you? The unemployment rate. What does it mean to you? You're not what the number is necessarily.
Yeah, it's like people that don't have a job.
People that don't have a job. That's all you thought. You're like, oh, it's people that don't have a job. And me growing up, I was like, oh, it's people that are lazy, that just don't want to work, that aren't qualified for stuff, and that's what it is. And it's like, nah, bro, it's so much deeper than this. It's woven into the fabric of how our economy is worked by the and set up by the Federal Reserve.
Yes.
It's fucking disturbing.
Yeah,
It's disturbing.
There's a certain level of unemployment that.
So the unemployment rate as of August 2025 right now is at 4.3%.
Mm-hmm.
But there's an unemployment rate and then there's a true unemployment rate.
What's it?
So I'll talk to you about the differences. The true unemployment rate is 24.7%.
Because that's what I was gonna. That sounds more realistic.
24, right? 24.7. Because if you think about it, you're like, oh, people are like 4.7%. I hear so many people unemployed. I see people on LinkedIn.
Like, there's no way there's like if you had 100 people, random people lined up, it's gonna be more than 5 of them that are unemployed.
And so now it's media, it's the government twisting numbers around to make you think that it's not as bad as what it really is. But and mind you, that 24.7% is according to the Ludwig Institute for Shared Economic Prosperity. So I want to cite my sources here. And so, okay, so how is the unemployment rate based off of? Like, how is it calculated? So it's based off of the total number of people in the labor force. All right, so the labor force is the amount of able-bodied adults that can work. So we're not going to include kids, anyone under the age of 16. And so recent data shows from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics that the civilian labor force in the United States is 168.5 million as of August 2025. We have a population of around 340 million total, kind of like half. Half of that, right? And so the civilian labor force is defined by the BLS as the sum of the employed and unemployed civilians aged 16 and or over who are not in the military or institutionalized, meaning imprisoned or whatever the case is, right? So that's part of it. All right, so when you do those numbers and you're basing 168.5 million, the unemployment rate is 4.3%. That means that there's 7.4 million people supposedly that are considered unemployed.
Right, okay.
Now, what unemployed means to the government is people who are actively looking for jobs.
Okay.
Full-time work.
Okay.
That's all it means.
All righty. I can see some holes.
So
in
now
this right
do you
here.
see the holes?
Yeah.
What they don't include and don't account for is people that have given up altogether on finding work and are seeking alternative ways to survive.
Such as
whatever you got to do to survive.
Okay.
You
I'm
might
talking about
be
like
selling some shit.
talking about
You
like
might
going
be-
to like sell. All right, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Okay,
You might be doing
illegal
it's just, how do you
activities.
survive? How do you survive?
Yeah.
Like shit that's under the table,
Yeah.
shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Or just off the grid,
And I'm not blaming. This isn't a blame on these
Yeah.
people. It's like people are like pretty much forced into this situation.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, and this is why. This number also doesn't include the number of people who have given up on full-time work and are working part-time.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So part-time means people who are working under 35 hours a week.
Okay.
if
So
you're working-
like bartenders,
gig economy,
hospitality,
stuff like that. Yeah,
okay.
stuff like that. So like that's why the true number is 24.7%.
Yes.
So if you do the math, 24.7%, 168.5 times 24.7%, the number is more like 42 million people are
Which
unemployed in this
sounds
country.
accurate if you were to just be out randomly.
That's ridiculous. Okay, so what does this have to do with the federal
Reserve.
the Federal Reserve? Like, what does this actually have to do with the Federal Reserve? Okay, so there is an economic policy that's been in place. I can't remember one. I didn't put it in here. I'm sorry. It's called NAIRU. NAIRU.
Okay.
It stands for Non-Accelerating Inflationary Rate of Unemployment. They like to call the Federal Reserve the dual mandate. So what that means is that the Federal Reserve creates a magic unemployment rate number for which it can't drop below. Because what they're telling us they're trying to do is they're trying to balance maximum employment with the minimum amount of inflation. So essentially, when the unemployment rate drops below this magic number, which I think is 4.2%, they're saying that we need to keep unemployment at 4.2%, meaning we need to have 4.2% of people, able-bodied people in this country, unemployed.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? And I've always questioned this. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
And the reason for they're saying is because the Federal Reserve believes that when more people are employed, when that number drops, that means there's going to be more money circulating in the economy because people are working, they have money in hands, which will increase demand.
Yes.
And they think that the demand being increased, or they think that if it increases demand, that means prices will increase because there's not
Supply.
enough products and services to go around.
Yeah.
All right. And so when that happens, prices increase, inflation goes up.
That's horseshit. But
So what they do is, it's horseshit. So what they do is, when that happens, they end up increasing the interest rates.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And in their mind,
that.
they think when you increase the interest rates, it means that it's more expensive for banks to get money.
Yep.
And so if it's more expensive for banks to get money, the banks will raise their interest rates on loans and mortgages, making it more expensive for the general public to get loans themselves. So if that's the case, less people are going to go out and get loans. When less people go out and get loans, that means less people are investing and starting new businesses. And if you're not starting new businesses, there will be less jobs available, which in turn means less money available to be spent. So there's less demand for products and services.
So less
they
jobs.
think it's going to cool down inflation.
Yes.
The reality is there's no actual hard data
It doesn't even
that
make
supports
sense.
this. That doesn't support this. I would argue, and a lot of people argue, is if we get unemployment rate down to 0, you have more people producing goods and demands and services that is needed for the demand that comes with the more money circulating.
Yes.
Like, it's ridiculous
that
this is built into our system.
That's literally that's the parameters.
That's the parameters.
Fed chair is responsible for maintaining the interest rate, inflation, and unemployment rate. Those are the two things that go into those.
Now, mind you, increasing the interest rate doesn't bring down the prices of groceries. It has no direct on that. Increasing the interest rate doesn't bring down the prices of gas. Doesn't do anything like that.
We see that, yeah.
Like it has no power and control over that. So, and those are most of the things that cost people money.
Yes.
People still got to eat.
Every day.
Like it's not about are you buying a PlayStation necessarily.
Right.
And so now the question is, so if that's not working, if there's no hard data on it, why are they doing it? Well, it all comes down to money and who has the power.
The
real reason is that big business and corporations would be forced to pay more wages and benefits if they have to employ more people.
Because you have to compete to get talent, and that's again, I don't even want to go down how they tricked us. We falling for it.
And they made and what you're seeing too is, if you recall, during COVID and right after COVID, when they were blaming supply chain issues for high inflation. And we're no longer was that, but they kept blaming on that. They were like, oh, sorry, we have to raise our prices because of it, when they were seeing record-breaking profits.
Yes.
Like, make that make sense for me.
Yes.
Like, you raise your prices because you're not making enough money. No. That's why you would. That's the answer, but that's not why they were doing it.
Of course
and
not.
So they were hiding behind this whole, no, it's the COVID thing, and why are you seeing record-breaking profits then? Like, what do you mean?
Because they knew everybody had money.
And here you go. And so I just think that, like, we get this number gets thrown around of like, oh, unemployment we're at 4.2%. You're like, oh, they're really trying to get people employed. No, they're not. No, they're not. And I learned a lot about that today. And like, I always question it. I'm like, why can't we just try to get to 0%? Like, that makes no sense to me. Oh no, we got to. And these people up there and their big wigs want to make it seem like they're smart. They want to overcome. It's not that complicated.
They don't want to pay you a real living wage because that would cut into their profits.
It's fucking crazy.
Follow the money.
Anyway,
follow the money.
Throw that out there. But you have something a little more lighthearted for us. But I'm excited because he's bringing some space facts in here, and I love space facts.
I'm sorry. I won't even say space facts. It's more of a exponential numbers. Last week, if you remember, Derek threw out the number 400 trillion.
Yes,
400 trillion. Here's something unique. A deck of cards has 52, unique cards.
Yeah.
Do you know that there has never been in the history two decks or a deck of cards that has been shuffled the same? And the way the math works of this is that you have 52 cards times
how many combinations?
Yep. And you would have to go 52 to the exponential.
Exponent.
There we go. So we have to 52 times 51 times 50, and that number comes all the way to.
It's got to be over at Google.
8 to the 67th power.
Oh, that's wild.
67 zeros.
That's wild.
If you remember last week, we counted 14 zeros, 400 trillion.
Yep.
Now imagine 67 zeros, and we'll throw it up on the screen what that looks like. But based on that probability, although I also was thinking like this can't be true, but based on that probability, no shuffled deck of cards have ever been the same.
That's crazy.
And it never will be.
That's crazy. I just never thought of it, but like those numbers there's just shit that we can't comprehend.
When we throw that number up, I was like, that is wild, because like again, 14 zeros was crazy, but now just talk about 67. I can't fathom
67 zeros. No, we can't. Yeah. And what's a Google? I think a Google is 100 zeros.
Yep,
I want to say. We'll put it up here.
A Google is a search engine. Right.
Alphabet.
Well,
I'm mad at Google right now too. Fuck them all, motherfucker. Fucking well.
We'll save the rant for next week.
Yeah, we'll save the rant for next
Tune
week.
in again. But hey, Derek, I think you always say this, but I'll let you say it. We did it again.
We did it again. Appreciate it. Peace.
Peace.